And in New York, Donald Trump supporter Kayleigh McEnany. Mitch, let me start with you. This really doesn't look good. And just as a reminder for those watching at home, John Ashcroft recused himself from the investigation in the leaking of Valerie Plame once Karl Rove, it was clear, got involved, and they appointed a special prosecutor.
Well, we're talking about one conversation, probably 15 minutes, where they're talking about their grandchildren or the impact of Brexit. I mean, I think what this speaks to more than anything else is that Republicans are desperate to change the conversation away from Donald Trump to anything else, and they're unifying and glamming onto this as something to hopefully distract the public from the Trump campaign.
Essie?
Well, when people like Chris Coons and David Axelrod point out that this just looks as bad as it does, I don't think you can just blame Republicans glomming onto it. It's really, really, really dumb. It's ill-advised. And I'm not usually one to lurch into conspiracy theory territory, but it is so dumb that it has made some believe that this was an intentional sort of photo op to get Loretta Lynch recused and to delay this whole investigation until after the election. Again, not generally one, but I can't imagine two very smart, successful, talented people both completely foregoing better judgment to allow this to happen.
Kayleigh, obviously the optics stink. What do you think they talked about?
Look, I don't know what they talked about. They very well could have just had conversations about their grandchildren. But that aside, the U.S. Attorney's Manual is very clear. If there's an appearance of conflict of interest, you are to recuse yourself and appoint a special prosecutor. So it really doesn't matter what they spoke about. This is clearly an appearance of conflict of interest. You had a Democrat senator say that. I know David Axelrod said the optics were not good. So you have Democrats saying this does not look good. And that should be enough for her to recuse herself and step aside.
It's a huge leap, though, to go from one conversation, probably 15 minutes, to saying that there's a conflict of interest. It's not against the law to talk to people. And so,
but as Essie points out, these are two smart people. What do you think happened? Do you think it just didn't occur to Bill Clinton and then the Attorney General was just stuck on her plane not knowing how to deal with this incredibly inappropriate conversation?
Well, I can't speak to his motives or to hers.
But that sounds like a plausible scenario to you?
Well, it does, actually, yeah.
Look, I mean, there are certain people who have, through their success, become kind of immune and unaware of the way normal people see the world, right? And Bill Clinton is a larger-than-life character who I think has not been told no a lot as of late. And you know, probably it's plausible he just didn't think anything better of this. But Loretta Lynch is a professional. Loretta Lynch is currently employed. Loretta Lynch has an important job to do, and I would have thought that she would have said, you know, she can't jump off her plane. I would have thought that she would have said, Mr. President, let's have this conversation another time. This is not a good idea.
I thought you were going to give me a little Harrison Ford in Air Force One.
Get off my plane.
Get off my plane. Thank you. Kayleigh, I want to play for you some of what Howie Carr, a warm-up speaker for Mr. Trump and a radio star in New England, had to say yesterday. He was specifically referring to Senator Elizabeth Warren and the controversy about her Native American heritage. Take a listen.
I heard Hillary Clinton and Elizabeth Warren campaigning. You know Elizabeth Warren, right?
I mean, Kayleigh, this is 2016. What is that?
He was having fun with the audience, and you know what? I think we get offended on behalf of certain groups more often than not. You look at the whole Redskins football team controversy where everyone said that was such an offensive term, and then the Washington Post publishes a poll that 90% of Native Americans were not in fact offended by that term. We live in a culture where everyone's offended by everything, and I think people are more concerned about ISIS and not what some radio host doing an opening for Donald Trump did.
Well, I got to say, I have a bunch of Native American friends, and if I did that to them, they would punch me in the face. Mitch, Politico has a report today on gifts that Senator Tim Kaine legally accepted from donors when he was governor of Virginia, from $18,000 for use of a Caribbean vacation home to several $1,000s in clothing while he was governor and lieutenant governor in Virginia, as a state that, or Commonwealth rather, with famously lax ethics rules. Senator Kaine, of course, being discussed as a potential vice presidential candidate. Do you think this could hurt him? Obviously, Hillary Clinton hasn't decided who she's going to pick.
No, and if you actually look at the largest gift that he received as governor, it was a $45,000 gift from Obama for America in 2008 because he was flying around the country as a surrogate. And so that's not a gift. In fact, it was a gift to the campaign that he was doing that. It's not like he had a Rolex watch or something like the former governor did. So I don't think this is much to do about anything.
Okay, S.E., I want to ask you, the Cleveland Plain Dealer reporting, the city of Cleveland plans to increase by 5-fold their protest insurance surrounding the Republican convention to $50 million. Obviously, cities take out insurance just in case there is a disaster. They seem to be, at least, let's say they're being cautious about what might happen. Are you anticipating that things could get really ugly in Cleveland?
Yeah, there are definitely going to be protests. I think whether you are for Trump or against Trump, both of those camps come from very heated, emotional places. One group feels as though they haven't been heard, and that would sort of be the Trump supporters. Another group feels as though they've been targeted by Trump. Maybe that's immigrants or Muslims. So, yes, I expect protests. I am going to leave it to the city of Cleveland, Secret Service, FBI, and everyone else in charge of the RNC security to make sure that those are not violent eruptions. But honestly, I can't honestly tell you I'm not concerned about it. I am.
And Mitch, just to bring it back one last time to this thing about with Loretta Lynch and Bill Clinton on the tarmac. I understand that you take their word for it. You believe that they didn't do anything improper. But if you had been staffing Bill Clinton, you would have said, don't go on that plane.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would have.
Do you think that anybody is traveling with Bill Clinton who is able to say things like that to him?
I mean, I think it's really easy in hindsight to to look at issues like this that are being magnified at a rate that I don't think is sort of dignified.
It's an
with the actual
FBI
act.
investigation. Mitch.
But I mean, she was very upfront about what they spoke about. Both of them have, and nothing improper happened.
Nothing as far as anybody knows, except for the two people on the plane. All right, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Kaylee, Mitch, and Essie, appreciate it. Thanks one and all. A stern and frightening warning for hundreds of thousands of drivers. Stop driving your car now. Coming up next, the makes and models being ordered off the road. You're going to want to hear this. Stay with us.
There's no reason you should feel left out because of your hearing loss. Now it's easier than ever for you to hear in any situation, like noisy restaurants. At Hear USA, get the latest breakthrough hearing aids available.
Watch, Dad'll probably get 2 desserts.
I heard that.
Of course you did.
At Hear USA, you can try hearing aids free for 60 days and get a money-back guarantee. Call Hear USA at 855-238-5331 today or visit summerofhearusa.com.
Falls are the #1 cause of injury to senior citizens. Acorn Stairlifts has a solution. Just don't fall. Sit, relax, ride with an Acorn Stairlift, the world's leader in stairlifts. Don't let limited mobility keep you from going up and down your stairs, even outside.